I am a housewife in my 40s. I married a man I met through work 10 years ago. Quit my job when I gave birth, and we are happily living with our 2 children as a family of 4. One day, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize, and I thought, who could this be? I picked up the phone out of curiosity. It turned out to be my mom from back home, and she said, "Your dad has passed away. You need to come to the funeral." And she told me when it would be. I hesitated about attending the funeral but decided to go. I had been estranged from my family and didn't want to see their faces if possible. The reason was that my mom had always favored my younger brother and neglected me. Ever since I was a child, I was forced to endure because you are the older sister. My brother and I are 4 years apart, and while it's natural to be patient to some extent, my mom's favoritism towards him was excessively severe. He was selfish, always wanting what I had, and would cry to our mom if things didn't go his way, leaving me to be scolded. When he broke my beloved doll, I was the one who got yelled at. My brother was allowed to take up any hobby he wished. But no matter how much I asked, I was never allowed to and was unreasonably scolded with. You are the older sister. Be patient. My brother was good-looking and charming. And he was pampered by everyone around, which delighted my mom as she called him. My pride and joy, treating me as an unwanted burden. My brother laughed at me as if mocking me. Even now, recalling this makes me feel bitter and sad. My dad was always busy with work and rarely home, he never neglected me. But he turned a blind eye. He never voiced any opinions against my mom, and was indifferent to family matters. I hardly ever spoke or interacted with my dad, but I vividly remember one incident. When my mom and brother were not around, my dad took me to a restaurant once. I had never been taken out to eat, so I was overjoyed and skipped into the restaurant. My dad asked me to not tell my mom and brother that we went to the restaurant. Keeping that little secret between us felt special and created a nice memory. As time passed and I was in my 3rd year of middle school, I began to dream of advancing to high school. My grades were good, and my teachers had high expectations, encouraging me to pursue further education for my future. However, my mom dismissed it with a single no. I had given up on asserting my will, thinking, whatever I say, I won't be acknowledged. But I couldn't give up on high school. I pleaded with my mom, and she finally allowed me to attend a public high school under the conditions that I apply for scholarships and take care of all household chores. That's when the incident happened. My brother, who was in the 4th grade, started begging to apply to a prestigious private middle school, and my mom told me, "Your high school is off the table. We need money for your brother's tuition and cram school. So get a job and contribute to the household expenses. I will be busy, so you will take care of everything at home." I cried and protested, "Why do I have to work for my brother's sake? Why must I be the only one to give up my dreams?" However, my mom was unyielding, saying, "You are the older sister. It's only natural." I had no choice but to give up on high school, graduated from middle school, and started working. Most of my salary was taken by my family, and I was forced to do all the housework, such as cleaning, laundry, and cooking. After enduring my mom's favoritism, I decided, I will run away from home when I turn 20. I just need to endure until then. I secretly saved the little money I could use for myself, and endured my mom's treatment by telling myself, it's just until I'm 20. On my 20th birthday, I ran away from home. I moved to a place far from my family, ensuring they could never find me, and I haven't contacted them in 20 years. Despite not wanting to see my mom or brother, I returned to my hometown for the funeral after 20 years. There, I saw my mom, brother, his wife, and their children. It's been a long time. Have you been well? We were worried when you disappeared, my mom said in a cloyingly familiar tone. Then, as expected, She started pushing the funeral preparations and cleanup onto me while saying, "I've been so sad since Dad passed away, I can't do anything." My brother and his wife did nothing but sit there. After the funeral, my mom, smiling meaningfully, started saying, "How about we stick together as a family from now on? You should totally move back in with us starting tomorrow." Currently, my brother's family lives with her. My mom is a full-time homemaker. And my brother and his wife are working part-time without steady pay. Up to this point, my dad has been handling most of the living costs. But it's obvious they're now looking to me for some financial help. Seeing that nothing had changed from 20 years ago, I decided, these people haven't changed at all, and made a plan. I firmly declined, saying, "No. I left because I couldn't live with you. I have no intention of living with you ever again." Then my mom showed her true colors, yelling, "You left suddenly without saying anything. Do you know how hard it was for us? Have you forgotten all we did for you?" I replied very calmly, "Gratitude for being raised? I was forced to endure, do all the housework. And my money was taken. I had no time to feel grateful." My calm response further infuriated her, and she turned red with rage, saying, "You neglected the housework and left us to take care of Dad. You must have been living carefree by yourself all these years. You have been causing us trouble for nearly 20 years, so from today, you must atone by serving us. You are the older sister. It's only natural. I married 10 years ago and have 2 children now, so I can't live with you," I replied. "You only came here today for Dad's inheritance, didn't you? After doing nothing all these years, you just want the money," my mom shouted at me. Hearing her yelling, my brother came from the next room. Then, with a mocking laugh, he said, "That's right, you've been gone all this time. So you don't deserve any inheritance." That's when I decided to reveal a shocking truth to my mom and brother. Actually, I've been in contact with Dad. I came today to deliver his will. I didn't want to see your faces, but I thought I'd decide after seeing your behavior. I continued explaining to my surprised and wide-eyed mom and brother. When Dad found out his illness was terminal, he hired a detective to find me. And we communicated through letters. Dad apologized for ignoring me all these years. And consulted me about how you two were doing whatever you pleased. I went on, "Prior to getting married, I was an administrative scrivener. And I'm totally qualified for it. Since my husband is a lawyer, I got involved with the inheritance matters as well. We sorted out the will and went to see Dad in the hospital a few times. And you were completely unaware. Neither you, Mom, nor my brother and his wife ever visited, just doing whatever you pleased. Dad didn't want you, who never visited, to receive any inheritance." I carefully took out the documents from my bag and spread them in front of the 3 of them, saying, "Dad wrote this will and processed everything legally according to the law. This is a copy of the letter from Dad and the processed documents." My mom, brother, and his wife roughly took the documents and started reading them with widened eyes. The letter written by my dad left most of the inheritance to me. Seeing the contents, my brother erupted, "This is fake. You tricked Dad into writing this." And he tore up the papers violently. "Now, there's no proof and I won't let you have your way," he said smugly. I sighed and said, "Did you even listen to what I said? I told you it's a letter. Even if you tear it up, the will is stored separately. You're as shallow as ever." I organized the documents while speaking. My mom yelled, "This is illegal. I will sue you." I responded calmly, "Go ahead and sue. All your actions have been documented in cooperation with Dad, and my husband is a lawyer. We've formally prepared the will according to the law. There might have been room for kindness if you had reflected on the past like Dad and apologized to me, but you haven't changed, so I'll do as Dad wished." Left without a reply, my mom cried and screamed using the old line, "You are the older sister, so be patient." in his anger with nowhere else to direct it. My brother inexplicably exploded at my mom. "It's your fault for how you raised her." He took out his frustration on the table and walls. And the children in the next room cried out in fear, turning the situation into a chaotic mess. I calmly grabbed the documents and said, "I'll send the official documents later," before I left my family's home. After that, the inheritance was handed out based on the will through official processes. My dad left the house to my mom and brother's family out of kindness, but they got none of the inheritance. Relying on my dad's inheritance, the three of them, of course, had no savings and became penniless. My mom and brother, who had never worked properly, accumulated debt and had to sell the house, now living modestly in a small apartment. I don't want anything to do with my mom and brother-in-law ever again, so I don't know the details. But I think they are finally facing the consequences of living at the expense of others all these years. I hope they learn to live independently and robustly from now on. My experiences of being overlooked by my mom and brother have really shaped me. I've built a strong character, found success, and created a joyful family. I'm thankful for the resilience I gained from it all.